Today's video is sponsored by ExpressVPN, but more about them later. Hey guys, and welcome to askmark number 19. 19 of these. Yeah, crazy.
They're not that bad.
No,
I enjoy them.
It's good fun. I enjoy them too. It's all good. So today we've actually got a surprise, and that surprise is we actually have 2 bonus questions. Boom, ruin the surprise. You're welcome, guys. Happy Friday,
Spoiler
everyone,
alert.
as well who's watching this. Happy Monday to everyone who's listening to this as our podcast. Mark, how the devil are you today? How has your week been?
I'm okay. My week has taken a rapid change because I've gotten to the stage where my hair just keeps bugging me. And it's kind of at that awkward middle length where it's too long to use like hair gel and stuff to control it, but it's just about long enough to use a hair tie. So I'm learning how to use rubber hair ties just to keep it contained. So if you see me with the dinkiest of ponytails or man buns, then yeah, that's kind of where I am at the moment because we can't go to the barbers anymore.
I was going to say, you're going to get that locked off as soon as it opens.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I think it's going to be one of those like life decisions where it's kind of like, lockdown lifts and I go, right, shall I just embrace it and just keep going, or just, have it off again? We'll leave it up to the public to decide. Let us know down in the comments below.
We'll do a vote. Should Mark get his hair cut? Yes or no? Sweet. That would be live. That would have just gone live.
No, because they're going to vote for me to take the beard off, and that's never going to happen. So.
Well, I won't mention the beard. Well, see, luckily I've got curly hair, so if I was to straighten mine, it wouldn't be as long as yours, but it wouldn't be fair off. But because it kind of curls and waves, I just kind of fluff it up a bit, so then I don't have that awkwardness of what to do with it. I'm starting to get my wings on the side, which I really like. It reminds me of when I used to have long hair. Anyway, rather than talking about hair, people don't really want us to talk about hair. Let's crack on with the questions. So the first question is from Randy Hammond. Nice name. What things?
Yeah, there's nothing funny about that name.
Not at all. Anyway, he says, I shouldn't say he. What things should you bring with you on a boat? Obviously all your dive gear, but what else? How many towels, types, materials of clothes, etc. Also, if you're doing multiple dives a day, do you typically stay in your wetsuit or wear it half on, off, or take it all the way off? Mark, you've been on a liveaboard once or twice, haven't you? Just a couple.
Yeah, just a few times, a few different boots. I mean, first of all, it depends on the boat, depends on where you are, depends on the weather and all sorts of things. But as a general, what I take on a boat, so yeah, I usually take a towel, nothing too big. I usually have one of those like microfiber towels. So it's not big or bulky, but it does dry you off quite effectively. And then it dries itself quite quickly, which is quite handy. I usually bring a bunch of dry bags to organize my stuff. And even if a wave splashes over or the weather suddenly changes or whatever it is, at least your electronics and your car keys and stuff, they stay contained on the inside until you're ready to get them out. I always bring a hat, whether it's hot or cold. So either like a beanie hat when it's cold, something to keep your head dry and warm, or a baseball cap or something helps to keep the sun and the rain and the spray out of your face. And yeah, just covering up your head between dives makes a world of difference, so it is much nicer. Other than that, it's just kind of essentials, and it depends on the boat. If it's a tiny little rib, don't bring anything that you don't want to get wet and that you're not going to use. If it's like a day boat or something, then yeah, you can bring a book, because sometimes you do have a bit of a sort of a crossing to get to your second dive or something. Liveaboard, of course, just bring everything that you need because you can stow it away in your cabin or something. But I wouldn't go overboard. As far as towels, I only ever really sort of bring one, because by the time that you dried yourself off, hang it up in the wind or in the sun, and that will sort of dry. That's also another good thing. Try and bring a decent like clothes peg assortment, so that you can peg your stuff up to a rail and not lose it, so that it can dry between things. And when you're hanging your wetsuit up between dives, hang it up inside out, because it doesn't matter how dry the outside is, because that's not against your skin. So if you're doing more than one dive, flip your wetsuit inside out so that the inside of it dries first. Then when you get into it for the second dive, it's much more comfortable.
Cool.
As far as multiple dives, I mean, again, it depends where you are, what the weather's like, and all that kind of stuff. I usually get out of my wetsuit as quickly as possible and get into some like real clothes, because after a good like hour's surface interval, you're just kind of wet and you just end up getting cold after a while. So it's kind of best to get dry as quickly as possible. In a dry suit, I don't usually, on smaller boats, I don't usually get out of it until the end of the day, because there's no real reason to. But yeah, it depends. If it's nice and sunny, then yeah, you can take half of it off and your top half's nice and dry. It's sort of personal preference kind of thing, but I tend to get out of it. Just get it over and done with, because as soon as that wind hits your wet skin, you just get cold. So it's best just to dry off if you can.
Cool. What about an inflatable flamingo? What are the rules about bringing one of them?
They are acceptable in most countries. You do have to declare them in some countries.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, I hope that helps you out, Randy. So next question is from Emma H89. Hello, Emma. Hope you're doing well. She says, any idea on what's going on with Blue Abyss? Mark, come on. What is going on?
Yeah. I have a personal communication line with John.
Your name is Blue Abyss. It's named after you. Mark, Blue Abyss.
So Blue Abyss, for those of you who don't know, is a British concept, which was started by John Vickers, I believe, and he basically wants to build one of the deepest swimming pools in the world. It's aiming to be about 50 meters deep, and his plan was to build it somewhere here in the UK and then use it for a range of training and experiences, from scuba diving and free diving to commercial diving and even aerospace, nautical, whatever they call it, teaching astronauts basically how to astronaut. And so it was in Kickstarter or like a crowdfunding sort of phase, about 6 years ago or something.
Wow.
As far as I'm aware, it hit its target, and everything sort of went well. And yeah, I think it's just been in sort of planning stage ever since. I think there was a stage where we found a location and then they went into like planning and something, but I think that has since changed. At the moment, yeah, I think it's still very much in the planning stage, because I think trying to build a 50-meter deep swimming pool anywhere in the UK is a tall feat and takes quite a lot of planning and money. I don't know. I think he's quite approachable, John. You got his sort of email on the website. He's on social media. I think he was on a podcast a couple days ago talking about it. So yeah, I think it's still going forwards. I'm just praying that it's not one of those what do you call it, like sort of Kickstarters where it's just like defrauding people out of money or anything, and then it never actually goes anywhere. I'd like it to actually go somewhere, because that would make a huge difference to the diving industry, especially here in the UK.
Definitely. I reckon they're still
fingers
picking
crossed.
their shovels. They just don't know, do we want the green one or do we want the pink shovel to dig? I think
This one, but that one has a longer handle.
I know, exactly. These things need to be considered, Mark, when it comes to it.
You don't want to rush those kind of decisions.
Exactly. Well, there we go then. So we don't 100% know, but yeah, just reach out to them on social, and I'm sure they'll answer your question or give you a little update. Cool.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's still going forwards, because it's with sort of some of these things, they kind of reach their backing and then they just go completely silent and nothing happens. But John's pretty vocal about, this is what's going to happen, this is what I'm planning. So yeah, I think it will happen. It's just red tape and paperwork and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, because he's got to get all sorts of contracts from commercial and space agencies and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cool, man. All right, so the next question is from Sasha. She says, "Hi guys, love your show. Thank you very much. I have a question for you. Good, because it's on askmark. Do most full face masks fit everyone? I'm looking for a couple of masks and I can't go into the shop, mainly because I'm in the US and all of them are sold in the UK. Okay, should I trust that it might fit me? I could send it back if I really need to, but should I take the risk?" So full face masks.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely full face masks available in the United States. Trust me, there's quite a few brands. But yeah, they tend to have like 2 different size skirts. You either get the like medium large style skirt, which is like the generic one that fits pretty much most people, and then they have a smaller version, which is for ladies with a more petite face, children if you really want to buy your child a full face mask. But yeah, as far as like an adult size full face mask, they're typically a one size fits all, mainly because the ceiling area is often like an inch wide all the way around. So yeah, you have a pretty good coverage, and because they're usually like a 5 or a 6 point harness like around your face. Yeah, you customize it to sort of exactly, and because they it's almost a positive pressure environment inside the mask, so the air that you're breathing is constantly pushing any water that's trying to get in, whereas with your normal mask, unless you're breathing out through your nose, there's nothing really pushing the water out. So yeah, I think you're pretty safe. But I'd do a bit more research if you can only find full face masks available here in the UK, because they are available elsewhere.
Yeah, there's lots on the market, isn't there?
Yeah, OTS and Ocean Reef and Kirby Morgan. Yeah, there's a whole bunch out there.
You said bunch. You should have said plethora, Mark. Disappointed in you, young sir. So this next question, again, if anyone else, if you're from the US and you've got a full face mask, or if you dive with a full face mask yourself, let us know your thoughts in the comments to try and help out. What was her name? Sasha. Cool. Right. So anyway, on to the next question. Is Marley Sharkey. So basically, this isn't the first question about this product in today's Ask Mark. And it's basically the Apeks Ascend reel. So Marley Sharks asks, we got a couple of similar questions like this. But anyway, it says, hi Mark and Shaun. I'm a huge fan of Apeks and your videos. I'm somehow drawn to this ascend reel, however you say it. It's really cool. But honestly, who needs such a huge thing when a spool and a dSMB does the job? Do you think that if the Goodman style handle for the Apeks Lunar Avid will be available in green as well, or the torch itself green line would look cool, even if a lot less visible? Cheers. So is it too clunky, and are they available, or is the Lunar Advance and stuff, the torches, I'm guessing that's what that is, isn't it? Are they going to be available in colour palettes?
Yeah, so for the Ascend reel, big ratchet style reel compared to a small sort of spool like that, most reels years and years ago, they were that ratchet style reel, so you had a big clunky handle, you had that spring loaded trigger, and then a ratchet reel, and then more and more divers went to a more simple spool because it's a lot smaller, a lot more compact. The main selling point for the big ratchet style reel is if you wear very clunky gloves and you don't have that dexterity to actually use a compact little spool. There are some things that you can do to a spool to make it easy to use with big clunky gloves, but with something like the Ascend, big, easy to use, even with sort of heavy gloves. But it is big. If you're a traveling diver and you're only diving with sort of bare hands, then I wouldn't worry too much unless you do really want that real like ratchet style, sort of winding it back in. But otherwise, you can get away just with a spool. The next question was about the Goodman handle. Spring?
Was it the spring? Now, hammer
Goodman.
style for the Apeks Luna, would it be in green?
No,
Yeah, I didn't.
orange.
Yeah, I thought that was. Is it
So
still in purple as well? Because they got really nice purple trim this year.
No. So the Luna Mini, which is their sort of small backup torch as such, so that's available in 4 different colours: the orange, the green, grey, and purple. The Luna, which is the sort of mid-range torch, and the Luna Advanced, which is the really big guy, they are only available in that gunmetal grey for now. The Luna Advanced comes with a metal Goodman style handle. At the moment you can, well, going forwards, because I don't think they're available on the market yet, but towards the end of the year you will be able to get hold of the Goodman style metal handle as a separate item. However, it's only going to be available in orange, but I imagine if sales go particularly well and there is demand for it, then yeah, they probably will produce it in the 3 other colours, because they have said that this is kind of a running thing going forwards. It started off with the spools, but they're going to start bringing out new equipment in the 2022 range, 2023, that has this kind of the purple, the orange, the green sort of color ranges running through it, so that you can sort of start to accessorize your gear. And the reels are available in those different colors. So yeah, I think it will, but not at the moment.
Not for
and
the
at least
first
for like the
gen.
first season.
Yeah.
I reckon it's just going to be orange, because I know they were having trouble with something about the Goodman handle, and I think it's probably something to do with the sort of the anodizing, that kind of color, sort of fixing it to it. So they're probably trying to figure out how to get that done.
Cool.
But yeah, I think going forwards that I'm sure the clever boys and girls are working on it. But no, I don't think you're going to see it this year at least.
Okay, cool. So this next question, so this was on the dive brief where you spoke about fins. And basically, so the question is originally from the user called YouTube User, where he was talking about said question, but there are a lot of people commenting on it. And then Leopold, I can never say that, Leopold Bloom, he basically suggested it to you, Mark. So he put in there, he basically put the hashtag askmark. So it's kind of a YouTube user wrote it, but it's brought to our attention from Mr. Bloom. So thank you very much. He goes,
Gotcha.
Anyway, do you think bright yellow fins are a good idea? And then he put in brackets, sharks. So basically, I think this is based on the premise of sharks are attracted to yellow gear. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we call it yum yum yellow.
Yum yellow. Okay.
Yeah. Yum yum yellow. It was I heard about this, Struth, years ago, and I think like everyone from Mythbusters to whoever has kind of confirmed it. And it's the thing that sharks like the color yellow. And it started off, it was just a passing comment. I was talking about dive gear, something with at the dive center with someone else, and yeah, they said, oh, of course, sharks they really like the color yellow, and yeah, it is a legitimate thing. I think the main sort of scientific consensus is that because yellow contrasts against the blue very well, it doesn't reflect blue light particularly well. It stands out really well. So that's one reason why we use yellow quite a lot in our marine equipment, because it stands out against the blue backdrop, and that literally makes you a bit of a target. It draws the shark's eyes, and sharks are attracted to a whole range of things, but they definitely like shiny, metallic, silvery, white, sort of interesting items, but they also like yellow because it does contrast quite well. So yeah, in the water, I don't think it's a huge issue. It is not that you'll be swimming along and a shark will just make a beeline straight for your fins, but if you are in that kind of situation where you're on the surface and there are lots of sharks going around and they're starting to get a little bit agitated, they're getting into that kind of feeding behavior, then yeah, it could be a contributing factor. The main thing is to try and like be as stealthy as possible in the water. So, and try and get anything that is particularly like flashy or distracting either covered up or like as far away from your main body as possible. So if you have a watch that has something particularly flashy, a flashy screen, and yeah, there are lots of sharks around, then it might be worth just kind of covering it up. If you've got some really blingy kind of jewelry on, don't take that into the water. Try and cover that up if you really have if you have to wear it. Yellow fins, yeah, they are good because other people can see you in the water and it does identify you quite nicely. But if you are diving in an area where there are sharks and the sharks are in that kind of feeding frame of mind, then yeah, yellow fins and like bright white fins aren't the best because they are going to attract their attention, draw their attention to you, and especially something that's kind of flapping around in the water, they're going to see that as a potential target and boom, they're going to at least give it a shot. Yeah, things like GoPros as well, if you are in that kind of environment, because it's a small reflective item. It also emits a very delicate electrical signal which goes to the shark's electrical sense. So yeah, they can be quite a sort of distraction, like an interesting item for a shark. And when you have that sort of yellow sort of float grip as well, that's just something else that's just going to distract them and make them think, huh, let me give that a shot, I'm kind of hungry. So yeah.
So basically what you're saying, Mark, is that sharks are the magpies of the ocean, but rather than storing it, they just want to eat you or play with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you a lot of the times they'll like nudge into something first, just to, it depends on the shark obviously. If they kind of nudge into something and they go, oh, that's not soft and squishy like I'm used to, then they can sort of move on. But yeah, if you're in that kind of environment with sharks who are like expecting to feed and there's lots of other sharks that sort of end up sort of like egging them on, because if one shark goes in for a look, then another one goes, oh, what's John going at? Oh, well, maybe it's worth taking a look at that. And they get sort of, yeah, they just end up getting excited, and then one will just end up taking a bite out of something. So yeah, if you're going into that kind of environment, then think stealthy, think sort of boring, natural. Think what would a fish be camouflaged?
Tweed, mate.
Tweed.
Yeah, that's what you need.
Just wool.
Yeah, mate.
Nah, just something, just dull colours that blend in, kind of greys. Blacks do have a bit of a contrast kind of aspect to them, so yeah. But yeah, try and blend in as much as you can if you're going into that kind of environment. Okay. But yeah, yellow, yum yellow, I think has been proven to be a thing.
Hashtag yum yellow. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So before we carry on with today's show, here's a word from today's spot. That is right. We have sponsors. Anyway, here's the video. Being safe and secure online is more important than ever, with more and more companies wanting to get a hold of your information and sell it to the highest bidder. This is where ExpressVPN comes to the rescue. They have over 3,000 servers in 160 locations spanning over 94 countries, and this list is growing day by day to help protect your online identity. Their VPN works on Mac, Windows, ISO, Android, and even routers. ExpressVPN even works with Netflix to help stream your media contents. So say you're a massive Office fan and you live in the US, you can't access that show on Netflix. Well, using ExpressVPN, you can connect to Netflix in the UK, which has The Office, as of recording, so you can binge watch that for the millionth time. For our viewers as well, you can get an extra 3 months free when signing up to a 12-month package by clicking the link pinned in the comments. So if you want to stay safe on the internet and watch your favorite streaming shows, then you should really consider ExpressVPN. Okay, back to the video. Cool, there we go. So don't forget to buy that product that either Mark or myself have just mentioned. Do it now, or I will cry. Anyway, let's
at the end of the video.
Yeah, watch this video first before you click off.
Watch this and then click.
And then click and buy and purchase. And if we give you a discount code, don't use it. Pay the full price.
What? No.
Anyway, let's move on to question number 6. This is from David. I am not going to pronounce your surname because that's Mark's job. Van
Duivenvoorde.
Cool. There you go.
Van Duivenvoorde.
Yeah. Anyway, hey David. He left this comment on the Shearwater Peregrine unboxing. He says, "Good review, Mark. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's all in the all in the edit. Anyway." I'm firmly in the recreational diver category and seriously considering the Peregrine for my next dive computer. I need an upgrade. Awesome. However, the lack of AI stopped me cold. Do you not think that a modern top-end recreational dive computer should have AI at this stage, or at least AI option, or an AI option, Mark?
Yeah, I think everyone kind of said that when they first announced the Peregrine. We were kind of like, we were all looking through the specs and we were like, oh yeah, because they did a whole like teaser reveal kind of thing. And as soon as the specs were out, everyone just flocked to it. And we were all like, oh, well, what about wireless air integration? And yeah, it just doesn't have that feature. I imagine there will be a Peregrine AI coming soon. Just like there's a Perdix and then a Perdix AI. I think the Peregrine, I think the main reason why it doesn't have AI is just to put it in at a nice kind of price range, because as soon as you add all that extra technology and stuff that goes into it, then yeah, the price is going to start increasing. But yeah, you do kind of expect it in this kind of, most dive computers nowadays have their own sort of wireless air integration. I think another reason why the Peregrine might not is because they don't have their own proprietary wireless air integration system yet that I'm aware of. They use Pelagic. So if they do put it into a dive computer, they do have to pay royalties or whatever it is to actually use that technology. Yeah, I imagine in a year or two, you'll probably find there's going to be a Peregrine AI coming out, but it wouldn't put me off buying a Peregrine. It's wireless air integration is a nice feature. I do use it quite often, and it's quite nice to sort of track your surface air consumption rate and all that kind of stuff. But it wouldn't make me go, oh no, I won't specifically buy that computer because it doesn't. Because then, yeah, you have to buy a wireless air transmitter as well, and then you have to do that. So, but because the Peregrine was aimed at the recreational market, they kind of wanted to make an inexpensive dive computer that has great features. It's just, okay, yeah, it doesn't have air integration, but it's a color screen rechargeable computer at a really sensible price point. Is what it is. But yeah, I imagine in a year or two you'll probably find a Peregrine AI option for you.
Yeah, again, it makes sense from the price point, and also as well, it's a new system, so there's no point in going full whack with this just in case it doesn't work. I mean, it's Shearwater, it was always guaranteed to work because those guys are awesome. But
yeah,
actually,
they're Canadian.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Like I said, I've probably walked past their offices many times in Richmond before. But for me to answer that question, David, just buy a Terek.
Yeah, that does have wireless air
It
integration.
does. Buy a Terek. That's my answer for everything now. I had to get that in this episode. Yeah, okay, it's interesting. But yeah, like I said, they're testing it out. They're going to test the waters first with it. Then, yeah, like you say, 2 years' time. All they probably got to do is just go toggle something on the software that lets AI and the algorithm, react to that and have that feature. There's probably just literally a bit of coding or something, and then it's good to go. Easy as that, mate. Easy as that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I imagine because a lot of the specs they have to go online, so clever people can go into, I don't know, like FDA or whoever it is, and they literally have the pictures of the inside, or if someone's disassembled. Yeah, I mean it has been heard of before, where a dive computer nowadays, because you can just upgrade them much easier than previously. You can just do it with, you connect it to your app, and you can upload, and yeah, so there have been dive computers that have features inside them that just aren't activated until a certain patch has been sort of released. So, but I think that's quite a big hardware
just a touch
thing. Yeah, that would be pretty easy for them just to switch on, but no, I imagine, yeah, there will just be a slightly thicker one or slightly bigger one with a transmitter receiver inside it in the next couple of years, because there has been call for it, so I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so the next two questions are about the Apeks Ascend Reel. Like I said previously. So the first one is from Eric Alexander. He says, regarding this reel, I guess the other Apeks reels is neutrally / negative / positively buoyant. So buoyancy issues with this one, Mark. That's the first question.
It'll sink.
It'll sink. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the body is plastic. I don't think it was Delrin. It didn't quite feel like Delrin. It just felt like a decent plastic, not that kind of cheap stuff. And you have that like edge all the way around the side. It actually feels like really nice quality to the plastic. Aluminium parts as well, and some stainless steel attachment points. So, but yeah, that'll sink unless they did something very clever on the inside. Yeah, negatively buoyant. So don't drop it.
Don't drop
but
it.
none of the spools, these are all aluminium. If you drop that, that'll just keep going.
Cool. Just make sure you attach it to a line and to yourself and you'll be all right. Or just hold it all the time throughout your dive. Never let go. Get paranoid about it. Cool. So the next question.
I paid enough for this reel. I'm not going to let go of it.
The thing is, like, you're underwater, you're sweating constantly, but no one will notice. Anyway, next question is again about the reel from Stephen Frawley. He says, if you were swapping, which hand would you use the primary? Oh mate, what is wrong with me today? It's because I haven't got any coffee anymore. If you were swapping which hand, no, this is right, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah.
It's just my dyslexia.
Yeah. If you were swapping which hand you use, presumably there's a way to remove and flip the stepped wheel too, so that it would catch.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for doing my job. Thanks.
So they would not just roll through. Yeah, so it's ambidextrous. I can only presume that Shaun didn't include the footage where I disassembled the reel and flipped it upside down.
Probably not.
No, wonderful. Yes, it's completely disassemblable. You can pull it apart. If you notice, on the opposite side of the fulcrum of that sort of thumb spring latch thing, on the other side there's a little Apeks logo. That's just a little squishy rubbery kind of filler gap. You just pry that out with a small screwdriver or a toothpick or something, and then you can take that spring loaded sort of thumb release off. Do be careful though, it's spring loaded, so the spring on the inside, as soon as you pull it out, just goes ping. That happened to me. And then you have to flip it over, kind of do the spring. And then for the actual spool, you undo that with I think it's a wrench or something, or a socket, and then that comes off. You then flip it over, boom, back on, and then the handle flips over. So yeah, completely ambidextrous. You just disassemble it. It takes some doing, so if you're gonna do it, be sure that you really want it that way. But yeah, it's pretty easy, and you don't need particularly complex tools.
Cool. There you go. Hopefully that helps you out. And that technically was the last question for number 8. But because we had basically we had 3 about the same product, I've got 2 bonus questions. And I've shoved them in, but they're aimed at you, Mark, but they're more so aimed at me, which is quite nice. So the first bonus question is from Elaine Pierce. She says, random question, but for Shaun, and then put in brackets so he doesn't feel left out. Thanks very much.
Oh.
This is very random. What are your opinions on hiking sandals? I love them, grippy and air to the feet, but my partner Michael hates them and he thinks they're the devil, especially with combined with socks. Definitely that. Just wanted to ask your opinion as a hiker. If Mark has an opinion on them too, great to hear his side as well. So thank you very much. So Mark, I'm going to leave that to you first. Hiking sandals, are they good? What would you recommend? Go for it.
I mean, I used to have a pair years ago, and yeah, they're good because if you're in a hot environment, then your feet don't get all sort of hot and clammy or whatnot. But I think Shaun's probably going to say something about support and whatnot. But I mean, the main thing for me was that I used to wear these all the time, and they had a really sort of aggressive grip, and they were very comfortable. But stones and stuff get in, and because they're literally like strapped onto your foot on like a flip flop, they're a pain to get out. But if it works for you, go for it.
Cool, excellent. Right, my personal opinion is they suck massively, but they do. I would never, ever wear them. That's my personal preference, especially with socks. Well, first off, they're really designed they're designed to be breathable. So don't wear socks with them unless you have like the finest and thinnest merino wool sock. There's no point. Majority of the sandals have been designed to basically be sockless, or they have been designed for an active sock, so like an ankle sock. They're perfect for the height of summer in the UK for lowland, or summertime where it's meant to be scorching hot. If you're going to be doing some low-level hiking, or even if you're going up high trails, but the path itself or the trail itself is well maintained, so it's literally a path. Go for it. Knock your socks off, or knock your socks off, and then put your sandals on. They have their values. Again, in hotter weather, I've seen so many people. Was it a couple of years ago? I was up Snowdon, and they started wearing their sandals again, height of the summer, and then within about 10 minutes, they were completely and utterly regretting their choice. Or as soon as it got to a path where it wasn't paved or it wasn't maintained, it was a bit scrambly. That you could see that their feet were going to hurt. And they were hurting, or if not bleeding already, because of, again, the stones and stuff. That's definitely a massive negative. Kind of like Mark says, if height of summer, when you're abroad or whatever, that sort of footwear is perfect. If you're going to go and do anything technical with it, I wouldn't bother. I would go for maybe a shoe rather than an actual sandal. Again, it gives you a bit more support. Also as well, with this sole, if you can get something with a decent sole, so something that's solid, it sounds a bit odd, but it also has flexibility. So what was it, Vibram? Vibram soles and sandals are definitely a good win. And also as well, if someone ever tries to upsell you on a Gore-Tex pair of sandals, you need to tell them to jog on, because they make Gore-Tex sandals.
Really?
Apparently, if you go in a river, it's so your feet, so the shoe can dry quicker. And I'm like, that's a gimmick. What? Yeah, or if it's suede and nubuck, it's going to help with the suede and nubuck. No, it's a complete gimmick. You don't need waterproof sandals. Yeah, it's
another thing that I've just thought of is you do have to consider the tan lines.
Yes.
Because your feet are going to be exposed, and afterwards you're going to have this weird sort of Ninja Turtle all over your foot.
Yeah, so, and if you sunburn your foot,
do think about that.
And you put your shoe, obviously if you ever burnt the top of your foot, it really hurts. So I personally hate them in super hot weather, dry climates, Sahara, perfect. They're going to do the job. But and no socks. Definitely no socks. Anyway, there's that question. So the next question, bonus question 2, this is from Corey and Jen. They say, now that Shaun has taken some of the open water certification quizzes, if you've not seen that video, it has just popped up here for our YouTube family. Will Shaun be interested in getting his actual certification? If someone pays me, then yes. No, it does make sense.
That's funny, because I'm writing a script on sort of when should sort of how young is too young for kids to go scuba diving, and one of the points is kind of finally you do have to kind of think to yourself, it's like, make sure that it's actually something that the child wants to do. It's not just something that you want them to do, because it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Shaun, I'm sure Shaun would do it if we like made him.
Yeah.
But we can't force him to do it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think I didn't put them in here, but there was a couple of comments on I don't know, one of the basically I think it was a new subscriber or just someone might not have been subscribed. But like, how comes all these videos are with Mark? None of them are with Shaun. And then like you got the comments, it's like, why doesn't he talk about what his diving experiences? And it's just like, just because this is a diving channel doesn't necessarily mean I mean, again, you have to be a diver, but the way that it works and the banter that it's always been is that basically we just don't want this channel to all be Mark. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just, you know, we've got a bit of banter, haven't we, Mark? So it's quite nice to have a difference of opinion now and again. And so I mean, at one point I declared officially that I was never going to step in front of the camera for Simply Scuba ever again, and that I was going to focus on my video editing. And then COVID, I think that was last year. It might have been. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, that was just over a year ago.
And then COVID happened.
And then a lot of things happened.
So, yeah, no. In all seriousness, I would love to, if I had more time on a personal note, even if Simply Scuba or Internet Fusion, who own Simply Scuba, don't want to pay for me to do it, I'll probably eventually do it, maybe, if I have the time and the money. I've certainly got the money now. They pay us pretty good here, which ain't too bad. Thanks for that. But yeah, maybe down the line, one of those things, isn't it? I've just got so much on my plate.
Yeah.
But I would love to.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, so many people have requested it to become an actual video series of me literally doing.
That would be quite fun.
To beginning to end. So that, if we can wangle that with work, that you got.
Well, we'll just start up a crowdfunder. People will contribute to that.
Yeah. All right. Cool. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to maybe one day if any scuba diving brands want to sponsor me and give me their equipment, you're more than welcome.
You don't need the equipment. Talk to the dive centres. Anyone who wants to teach you for free.
Yeah, but also as well
for a little bit of advertising.
I won't say no. XD, Apeks, Aqualung, Shearwater. Come on, you owe me a Terric. I must have at least sold you about 400 or 500 of them now. So all I mentioned is the Terric. Come on. Anyway, shall we end it there, Mark?
That's all of the questions.
That is.
But yeah, if you want to throw some money at Shaun, getting Shaun qualified, let us know down in the comments below. If you do have any questions, comments, queries, or even corrections, pop them down in the comments below. If you're listening to this as a podcast, unfortunately, you're just going to have to head over to YouTube or one of the other Instagrams or Facebooks, just on any old post. Just post your comments with the hashtag askmark, ASKMARK, and then that way you'll sort of get our attention, basically. Don't forget to check out.
It's ASSMARK. Oh, I'm not going to say it though because I don't want to get demonetized. Because we'll probably get demonetized.
No, don't you dare. Don't forget to check out today's sponsor, which was something.
ExpressVPN.
It's going to be Express. Okay, ExpressVPN for.
Express, yeah.
For all your virtual private network needs or something.
For your deep web work. Although we do not condone that sort of thing on Simply Scuba and askmark.
No, but they are quite handy if you want to sort of look at different content on like Netflix in different regions. That's quite clever.
They would all know that because they've watched the segue, they've watched the advert, so they know.
Anyway, don't forget to check out our what's it called now, Springs store for some of our merchandise. It's getting to the point where I can take my hoodie off soon, so I'll start being able to wear the Simply Scuba t-shirts again, so you can see some of those. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.
Stay classy, scuba divers.